Hey guys, Stamina here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be going over 5 tips that every player should know on the CT side in Counter-Strike 2. So every good Counter-Strike player understands the importance of early round utility. I'm going to explain to you a nade set really quick here on the B side of Ancient. What you're going to do is go back against this wall and aim directly at this trim, and when you get to the corner you're going to jump throw, and what this Molotov does is it lands very quickly onto the ramp, and it also covers this corner so nobody can lurk up. Now what this is going to do is it's going to do 2 primary things for you. One, it's going to alert you to any B rush that happens. If this Molotov is here and they want to rush up and they smoke that molly, you get that audio cue that they smoked your molly, and all of a sudden you're like, hey guys, they're brushing B. And 9 out of 10 times that's going to be the case. I don't even think it's bad to say that you could call B rush when they smoke that molly like 100% of the time, just because most often people aren't just going to smoke it for no reason, right? So it's typically a really good indicator. Now on top of being able to throw this Molotov so early and have such an early tell, you're able to pull out other utility to support you in this effort. So if you hear them rushing up, you could dunk in an HE grenade like that. You could also be preemptive with this. If you thought they might rush B, you could just throw that HE and then peek. If they smoke your molly, because of volumetric smokes, you have a perfect wall on the ramp, so you end up being in a great situation because it's almost as if you threw the smoke. Now the last thing it does for you, and it will do for the entire team if everybody is using their early round utility, is it gives you a sense of security and a sense of comfort around the map. If you are using this Molotov and you're saying, guys, nobody's rushing B, and your Cheetah player is using, you know, his early round piece of utility, and he's saying, guys, nobody's rushing catwalk, and your mid players used the early round smoke and molly combination, and they said, guys, nothing mid. All of a sudden, your sense of urgency to like over rotate or to, you know, freak out about what's going on, it just goes down, and now you're able to really play the game and adapt to exactly what the T's give to you. So it's really important to learn early round utility on every single map and not just Mirage. So make sure that you learn these on every single map in all of your positions. The next tip I'm going to explain is containing and understanding when to flank. So the idea here is very simple. When you are in an advanced position on the CT side and you could flank your opponents, it's not always wise to instantly flank them at the exact timing that you get there, because they might not be actually committed toward the bomb site that you were attempting to flank, even if nobody's defaulting your side of the map. So let me give you an example. Let's just say you were playing halls and you pushed through the end of long hall like this, okay? If you got here and nobody was here and you didn't see anybody up mid and your teammates were in bracket and they didn't see anything, okay? Some players who are inexperienced might actually just continue the flank. They might drop into Mexi and walk down like this, and they might just try to come up Mexi, and once they get here, bob up their head, right, and then instantly flank B. Now this could pay off in some scenarios. This could pay off, you get a multi-kill, but this is why it creates bad habits, is because sometimes it does pay off even when you fundamentally play the wrong incorrectly. So in this scenario, if you were in this position and you could flank, but it's early in the round and maybe there's like a minute 20 and your teammates aren't feeling the pressure of anyone coming into the bomb site, right? They're still behind a smoke here, whatever the case might be. Chances are they are going to be a little bit wary that somebody could be flanking them. So in this situation, you would want to contain. And this is a very common containing position that I've seen throughout the years, is players will play an alt mid like this and they wait to see if everybody will come back to A. Now in this situation, because you are containing, everybody else from this entire part of the map, all of A, can leave A and all go to B. And they can all go to B because you are containing the fact that if they come back to A, you are not only going to kill them, but you're going to slow them down so much that by the time they get back to A, it's all kind of chaos breaking loose, right? If I was in this situation, they were coming back up mid, and I even got 2 kills, and we were in a 5 versus 5. Now we're in a 5 versus 3, and I'm living alt mid, and I'm just making their time miserable. And now I come through halls, and I start walking up long hall. Well, as soon as I engaged with them and slowed them down, these players who are playing around spawn are going to quickly rotate toward Moto, right? And these players are going to try to like foot race onto the bomb site to get here. So by containing, I've created a situation where my teammates can all stack the other bomb site, and if they do come back toward the A bomb site, I'm going to get a multi-frag most likely, and my teammates will still have the jump on the rotate. Now there's also an alternate situation you could get into where maybe when you were pushing here, you saw a guy crouching away in Mexi pit, and you say to your teammates, guys, they're grouping back to B. They don't know I know, right? Great phrase, by the way. Every Counter-Strike player says it all the time. They don't know I know. They don't know I know. If you're in a they don't know I know situation, your timing is so immaculate that you can continue the flank. If you saw this guy going into Mexi pit, there's about a 0% chance that he's going to turn around and hold his flank while going through Mexi. And if he is, he's cheating. So as he comes through here and he bobs up, he's going to get out and he's going to go toward B because they want to go B. So if you flank in that situation, you're catching such an immaculate timing that you are probably going to catch 2 or 3 people with their back turned to you. And now you can just line them up and get those kills and secure the round for your team. So that's the idea of containing and knowing when to flank, and this is something very important, and every great player understands this. So my next concept is the idea of gambling and re-aggressing. Now Vertigo is the best map to explain this on because it has one of the most common gamble re-aggros in the entire game. What we're going to see often is we're going to see the T-side team wants to rush up a ramp. They flash off the wall, they rush everybody up, and they're trying to duel you to the death. Now, when they get into the situation, if they find an opening pick and your team is in a 4 versus 4, or you could even be in a 5 versus 5, you don't have to lose anybody. But if you get pushed back off this ramp, and you know for certain they used a lot of bodies here, the great thing is for them to get all the way to the top of the ramp and decide, hey, let's go B. If they walk, it takes them forever, right? They have to walk all this way, and they're still walking, and you don't want to run on the bridge, and they're still walking, and they're still walking, right? And you see the idea, right? It takes forever. So if they run away, obviously you'd have information that they're running away, but you can hear it the whole way through. The entire map is paper thin. So what you can do as a CT team is if you can have your mid player shift over toward A. You could even have your B player maybe throw a smoke for the top of the ramp, just to kind of like, pretend like we're staying there, and you can rotate everybody to A and then look to do an aggression. We could have 2 or 3 guys walk up the ramp. One thing that has been common for a long time is many teams would have their opper walk toward the side hall by himself like this and kind of just get to this point and just kind of like hold, and then everybody else would re-aggress the ramp and they would fight this to the death. And the concept is really simple. If you stay and you are pushed back situation, you're often not going to have the positional advantage to win the round as a CT. That's just all there is to it. Vertigo is a pretty T-sided map, and this is one of those scenarios where it gets pretty T-sided for you. So add in re-aggressions and gamble stacks into your CT side play, and I guarantee you'll win more pugs and more matches in your team. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is the idea of winning the utility battle on CT side. So what you have to understand is that in Counter-Strike, the Ts are always going to have an inherent advantage over you when it comes to utility. The CTs have to defend far more area, right? We have to defend A main, we have to defend mid, we have to defend E box, and we have to defend B main, right? And this applies to every single map. Just plug and play the positions, right? But because we have to defend so many things, the Ts know where they want to go, and only they know where they want to go. So we have to defend these parts of the map no matter what, but it's important to understand like which utility battles give you the most information and how you can really make sure that you're on top. So I'm going to use Anubis for an example, okay? Many CT players will start the round by smoking mid. Nothing wrong with that. Great start to the round. Now what Ts will often do is they'll look to use utility in mid, such as like a house smoke, okay? And now when they throw the house smoke, they'll come up and they'll look to throw this Molotov. Now you may even face Ts that are nading the mid smoke and trying to come through with it. But what you can do as a CT when all of this comes in is if you understand that this is going to happen at some point, house smoke, door molly, what your goal can be to use that early round smoke, make sure that nobody's walking through. And when you see that next set of utility come through, you look to timing your Molotov to where they've used their molly. Now I'm using my Molotov. Now, unless they want to then smoke this Molotov to really press the issue, now they're in a situation where they've used this smoke, this Molotov, and a second smoke on your Molotov, but all you used in exchange was a smoke and a molly, right? And if they opt not to progress forward when this molly comes in, they sit behind this, you as the CT understand that because they haven't made it past this Molotov, which spreads the whole way, and you get an audio cues if they walk through it. When this Molotov fades, I can now come in, and my teammate could go ahead and give me a flash from mid, and I could go for an info gathering peek and potentially even find some openings right under the opponent. So what you have to understand is in your different positions, you have to try to win the utility battle. This also applies towards like A main on Anubis, and it applies all over the place. You'll see plenty of examples of this on every map, but another example of it on Anubis is when teams throw the A main lurk control nade set, right? They smoke main, they smoke here. What you'll see really great A players do, Diha is a great example from Ents, is when he sees this nade set comes in, he understands that this molly lands right here, so he'll sit pillar, and when he sees these nades coming in, he mollies in front. Okay, so what it creates is a scenario where there's nowhere inside of here that the T's can even be, and since their molly came first, when that molly's about to fade, he'll smoke and come back in, and boom, he won the utility duel in A main. So you need to understand how to win these different battles all over the map, on every single map, and this will really help you strengthen your CT side as an individual and as a team. The last tip I'm going to go over for CT side is how to play late round scenarios. And what I want you to understand is that Counter-Strike is not one way. It's not a one-way game. Okay, there's not one way that every single player in the world plays, and there's no particularly correct way, but there are ways that have worked more consistently and that experienced players understand. And both of these ways I'm going to show are things that really experienced players will do. The first one I'm going to talk about is playing a one and done position. I'm going to give you a very specific example. A really cool one and done position is playing in front of this right here and crouching. Now, what does this create? It creates a scenario where when your opponents walk up into the bomb site, everything that they pre-aim is going to be everything but this one position, right? If I'm walking up short, I peek off like wood wall and grate, peek pillar, I peek headshot, right? I peek the sandbag, I'm peeking heaven, spawn, right? Graffiti, right? And then I'm gonna look toward like wood wall. And around this time frame is when I'm exposing myself to this player, right? I'm never looking there, like ever. That never crosses my mind, right? And I come down here and plant, right? Even if I come out monster, and I look barrel, I look pillar, clear wood wall, clear back default, clear close bridge, I look heaven, I look pit, and as I come up this slant, I'm always going to look left side graffiti. And what's that? I don't see this guy, right? So by me playing in a position like this, I create a scenario where when the T's come to my bomb site, I'm almost guaranteed that I'm going to kill one because I'm going to catch them off guard. But what's really great about playing one and done positions is we call them one and done positions because basic fundamental trade fragging tells you that you should die. Their teammate who's running in with them should trade you. But if they lack fundamentals and this guy just runs up and he's like, oh, site's clear, and he plants, and as he plants, this guy's like, yeah, I'm clearing your graffiti. If you end up killing this guy who's running up, you can also usually multi-frag onto the bomb planter. And this is the scenario that we're actually hoping for. We see this so often in pro matches, and especially semi-pro matches and, pug environments. So playing one and done positions in the late round when you're in like these XVX scenarios, like a 3v3, is really good. Another example of how to play the late rounds is to actually isolate one position and kind of give up another area of the map. So one that we've commonly seen throughout the years is pushing up into this position, long A. Now, whether you call this Montag, that corner long, or Sean Garris, whatever your call might be, when you're playing this position, you are not exposed to anybody that peeks you right here. So this is like the idea, is if they come up divider / banana, whatever you guys call it in your country, it takes them a long time to walk all the way up here. And typically around the time that they get to here, they start to use utility because it really doesn't make too much sense to go further, right? You'll see people like molly bank, maybe they molly jump up, maybe they just peek out into the open and smoke jump up, whatever the case might be, right? This is usually when they use utility. So you get alerted at a very early time frame. But what's very unlikely is that they're going to peek this and walk back up and reverse flank you. But alternatively, if they did come from long bathroom toward the long side, you're almost always going to have the jump on them and a potential multi-frag situation here. But if they don't come long and they do go up like I mentioned, your timing is really good. Now this is just one example. Another great example could be actually just playing in bank. We see many operas do this in late rounds where they'll just come down like this and they're isolating the fact that nobody from A can cross this line of sight. So no matter what happens, they can't get flanked from jump up. Their B players can't get flanked. And if the enemies step too far or they're undisciplined, then we get a man advantage before we go into the retake. So your late round positioning is really important. And these are two of the ways that you can position yourself in late rounds to really have an edge over your opponents in CS2. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And like always, if you did, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up and comment below what you'd like to see next. I am going to be posting every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And also, guys, I do stream pretty frequently on twitch.tv/StaminaWow. Link will be in the description. Peace out, guys.